On this quick episode, I'm going to show you how to flare a brake line. So don't forget to subscribe if you like what you see. There's much more where this came from. So getting started, this is copper cladded brake line. I like using this versus the regular steel line. It lasts a little bit longer and it's a lot easier to work with, which is really nice. So I've already pre-bent my line going from the flex hose to the rear drum and the differential. I just need to do my cut here. So I'm going to show you how I do my double flare right from cutting the line and on. So I grab my cutter and just go on the line that I made. And these are pretty easy to use. You just snug them up. And then once it's engaged, you just give it a turn and then turn your adjuster in a little bit so it cuts a little bit deeper, and then just keep going like that until you get all the way through. Perfect. And then once I get all the way through, this line came with a little rubber cap. So I just put the cap back on and keep dirt and junk out of it while I'm not using it. And then I take my cutter, and on the end of it, it has a reamer. So I just push the reamer up and then put it in. And then just like so, just give it a quick ream, take any burrs or anything out. And then that's that step. Then the next step, don't forget to put your fitting on. So I got my fitting right here, slide it on with the threads pointing out so you can thread it in once you get your flare. That is a common thing that I see happen. People forget to put their fitting on. I've done it myself once or twice. You flare the line and realize that your fitting's still on the workbench. You have to cut your flare off and redo it. So you don't want to forget that. And then you take your clamp tool here. It only works one way. The other way is flat. And then on the side with the writing on it, it's also flared in, because that will come into play at the end on the double flare to give you that shape that you need. So I just slip it in, and then I kind of snug it up a little bit so it's not too floppy. And then I grab the die. This is 1/8 inch line. It's the same thing no matter what size line you're doing. So you take your die, and then there's a lip on it. Not sure you can see that there. Goes from here to there, there's a little lip, and I use that for my guide for how much I need. Get the camera to focus. I just go like that, I think you can see, and then I will finish tightening up the clamp the rest of the way. You also want to make sure that these two halves are sitting flat. If one's sitting one way or the other, it will throw your flare off a bit, which isn't any good. So now you make sure it's good and tight. And then I always put it in a vise. I find it's a lot easier to deal with it. And let's make sure that's tight. Perfect. Now you're going to take your die and you're going to stick the part sticking out into the brake line, and then it has a bit of a groove on the die, and that's going to push the brake line kind of out and bubble it out a bit for the first part of the double flare. So this just slips in just like so. And then we're going to take the clamp. This sits right in the top part of the die, and it just flips over. And you thread it in so it's snug. I'll show you guys that. So it should look like that. You can see the brake line sticking out, and then your die, and then the clamp. So now I'm just going to take my wrench and tighten it up until that die is sitting flat on the silver clamp. If you don't have this tight enough, your brake line will just push right through and you'll have to reset up and clamp again. So once that's compressed, you want to make sure that that's sitting tight all the way around so you know you got a nice flat flare. And now you can loosen it off again and take it off. And I always have trouble with these getting stuck. When the line flares, it kind of pinches on the stud. So I just I carefully use a pair of channel locks or pliers or anything just to pull it out. But you want to pull it straight out. You don't want to turn it because then you'll snap that stud off and then you'll have to go buy a new die and reflare your line. Just like that. So got my stud. So now I put that off to the side. And your flare should look like that at this point. So you can see it's mushroomed out around. You can see on the one that I'm not using how it's flared, so it fills that void, and it's just kind of almost like a little bubble. So now we take our press again and we slip it in, and that's gonna go right in the center of the brake line, and then when you clamp it down, it will do the double flare. Oh look, just like that before you start compressing it. Some people ask, why do you do a double flare versus a single flare? And the reason being, a single flare just isn't strong enough and your line will blow out or you just won't be able to make a seal. A double flare will handle a lot higher PSI and it will stand up to a lot more abuse like emergency braking and that kind of stuff, and it will just last longer and is stronger. So that's why you have to do a double flare. So when I'm compressing this down, I want to go tight so I got a good uniform shape, but I want to go so tight where I end up ripping the steel, because you can overstretch it. Not so much with the double flare, but with the single flare it's a lot easier to stretch and rip the metal, or the line. So now I take that off after I compressed it all the way down. I guess I should have shown that. When it's compressed all the way in, you'll see the difference. I'll just do it finger tight. So you can see how that they're pressed all the way in, and you see a little bit sticking out, not like before. Now I'll take this off. And that is what your double flare should look like. It's a nice uniform shape. Now I'll loosen these guys off. Take it out of the way. Then you just loosen these off enough so you can get your line out. And then that's what it should look like. Nice and uniform. And then when your fitting slides up onto it, it has that nice perfect shape to it. Just like so. Looks good. So that is how you do a double flare on brake line. If you like this, subscribe and check out my other videos. I usually do bigger things from start to finish. Like I'm doing the brake lines on this right now, so there is going to be a video of me doing the brake lines, but I thought I'd do a video just of double flaring because a lot of people have issues doing it, and I just thought it might help somebody out. So don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.